Crazy. I mean, I just got off set, so I was exhausted, but it was amazing getting to see the thing as a whole. Like, I'd seen bits and pieces, but not it was incredible. What Wes has done and the whole team, amazing. She is very determined, and she is initially in a very vulnerable position and has to pretend to be feral. And then you begin to see that she has other intentions, and she's a bit of a mystery, I'd say. From having watched it now, like as a whole, she's definitely mysterious. Yeah, although I had to do all my scenes I'd do with them and then without them, and I'd be talking to air. Yeah, because for the VFX they needed it as a slate, so that was really weird and difficult. But it was amazing getting to see them transform, and they did such a good job that I didn't need to pretend, I didn't need to imagine anything, because they took on those animals so well. Like, I can see all of them in there, and Owen and his eyes, I'm just like watching, and it's completely him and everything that I remember. And so I feel like we're almost a part of a secret club, getting to have seen the actors do it for real and then see it with the ape. It's the same thing, it really is.
Exciting. I mean, I've been waiting for people to see it for a year and some now. So it's really exciting and terrifying at the same time, because there's a lot of pressure, but very exciting. So we meet Noah when he's basically still a kid. He's a young chimpanzee. His father is sort of the kind of religious leader of his clan, of thinking of the eagles as a kind of religion almost, and Noah's got a lot of pressure on him to live up to his dad's expectations and follow his dad's laws, but there's also this thing within Noah that's deeply curious about the world around and wants to explore and wants to know things. Well, it's actually not that different from live action. I don't know what, being a human. It's you really don't approach it in a different way in terms of the emotional life of the character. So that can be harder, but in terms of just creating the character, it's the same process, really. It's fun. It's really fun. You get to access a part of yourself that you never get to go otherwise, in other work. I find it's like you're suddenly working in mixed media. You have your normal paints over here, but then you have this other thing that you get to throw in and play with. So it just adds to the freedom of the performance. I hope it gets people thinking about, how closed-minded we can be with our groups. That's kind of the wonderful through line of Freya's character and my character is that we're always learning about each other, and it is a complicated relationship. We're not friends, but there is more there than I'm willing to give her credit for, and vice versa. But also, I hope it makes people think about power structures and how people in power take that power. Well, it hopefully sets up the next movie.
it feels really surreal. It feels really surreal. We spent a lot of time working on this film, and it was such an immersive experience, and to actually be here and the film is done, and the world gets to see it, it's a dream come true. Proximus Caesar. He's a beast. He's a highly intelligent bonobo who, from a very early age, had the power of being able to imagine and conceive about a tomorrow, a future, or a past, whereas most animals and apes are reactive in the present. So, he's incredibly versed in human culture and history. He's learned from their failures. He's learned from their. I'm speaking of humans like they're not me, because I'm not. I am full bonobo. But it keeps coming. My wife gets really tired of that.
I can imagine being quite terrified at home.
People are like, what would you like with your coffee? I would like some cream, please. It's just like, gee, I can't stop it. Stop it. I had never worked in this medium before, and I just decided I better go in with an open mind and open heart, and it ended up being the freest I've ever felt as an artist. I wasn't caught. I wasn't stuck in my human vanity. I just became Proximus, and it just it took over. And it's still taking over, apparently. Well, what's interesting is I did an audition, sent it, and then he wanted to meet me right away. And he spent the call just kind of showing me the world, almost like he was saying, come, this is what we're gonna do. And I was like, you don't understand like how in I am. But what he showed me, he's a true visionary. A world builder, and so incredibly thoughtful. He had already been so immersed in it way before we showed up. And when I sat down and watched the movie for the first time last night, Owen and Freya were sitting in the row behind me, and I couldn't even go to the hallway and go up like a regular person. I had to step over the seats, and I just grabbed them and I hugged them so hard because I was so proud of them and of us and everybody involved in this production, because it all came together.
It's incredible. I mean, it's just biblical. It's epic. It's huge, and it's brilliant as a standalone movie, and it honours the trilogy that precedes it and carries on the mythology. And so I think it's spectacular. I think Wes has done an amazing job. The cast have done an amazing job. And I mean, I was a sort of consultant to the movie. I'm a consultant to the movie, in the sense that when Wes had chosen where he was going to start the story, which is generations later. It's like, okay, that's very specifically going to affect the evolution of the apes and the different clans of apes who are all over the world, and how far each clan has evolved a different way, which will affect speech, which affects movement, which affects psychology and the belief system and all of that kind of stuff. So I was sort of brought in to pass on the baton in a way, and help them create that world sort of thoroughly, so that the relationship of all of the apes in terms of their clan, the Eagle clan, how different that would be to other clans, and what is the specifics of that clan. I mean, when the first films came out, they clearly had a massive impact, because you can say very important things about social conditions, about civil rights in the case of the 1968 movies. You're able to free up people's minds, take them on a journey where they can evaluate in a completely different way, and because chimpanzees are 97%, or apes are 97% genetically the same as us. It's just even having that slight separation, and then the ability to anthropomorphize those and make them more human-like, and of course, in the journey of the first 3 films, you had a character, Caesar, that went from being pure chimpanzee all the way through to an evolved ape, if you call becoming more human-like evolved, I don't know. And so that I think is, but emotionally they are the same as us. So whether it's communicating through grunts or breath or it's still they're very human attributes, and so we can tell stories about the human condition in a way that people are more open to talking about, and not being judgmental.
This franchise has been around for 55 years, right? So this is a long-running, legacy of movies that we get to be a part of, and it's really exciting. And I think we wanted to stand alone and be our own sort of movie, but at the same time, really, honor what came before. And we're fans of those movies. We love those movies. So it's a real kind of honor, I think, to be a part of this long-running legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. He says
What he
it best.
said.
He says it best.
It is funny because we're such big fans of what Andy Serkis did, and Rupert and Matt, what they did for the last 3 series, and also Rick and Amanda, who are part of this movie too. So we share a lot of DNA with that previous set of movies, and we have our roots in those movies, so but it was also really fun to kind of, get some distance from it so that we could kind of explore kind of a new look on what's happened to Caesar's legacy, how that myth and legend has kind of shaped and been twisted by other characters, so it opened up a lot of opportunities for us, I think, story-wise, to introduce people to a new set of 8 characters and a new type of story, and just a new kind of theatrical experience where you all get to go visit apes on horses again, you know what I mean? It's awesome. I think people are going to fall in love with Noah. He's a fantastic character, and he's a bit of the straight man in this movie, so, there's a lot of great colorful characters around him, like Proximus Caesar and Raka, and our baddies that are awesome, Silva and Lightning, and his mother Dar is a great little small character, but a super kind of impactful one in the movie. It's very emotional, I think, the movie altogether, but, I think all the actors really deserve a lot of praise for jumping into this thing, feet first. This is their first time doing this. It's our first time doing this kind of a movie, and it's a unique kind of experience for them and for us making it, and we put a lot of love into it, so hopefully fans love it.
Them having to perform like apes, sometimes in a virtual environment, it's not an easy thing to do. You have to learn how to move like an ape. You have to, on top of being your character in the movie. I mean, it's a challenge if you've never done it before, and a lot of these actors have not done anything like this before.
You can imagine how silly they must feel wearing these silly suits with a camera on their face, and they're looking at just a bank of cameras. It's not just the film camera, it's also like a dozen other cameras around them, capturing every little subtle nuance of every performance that they do, so that the guys at Weta, this amazing artists, they can take these kind of these really subtle performances and transfer them over to the CG. It's like unbelievable in a way. What happens. It's haunting. It's a beautiful world that is like I personally want to go and live there and sit in that place. But it's also, there's a melancholy to it because, it's the mistakes of what the humans, left behind, So all the treasures and the lost knowledge that kind of exists just under the surface of all this beautiful greenery. It's cool. It's a cool concept.